Discover Kampala, most beautiful city in Uganda. Hello Discoverers, welcome to another informative video presented to you by The Explorer, and thanks for watching. It is always a pleasure surfing around the cities of Africa and the world, bringing you some peculiar discoveries about each of them. In this video we shall travel to Uganda to discover its most beautiful city, Kampala. Kampala is the capital and largest city of Uganda with an estimated population of 1.7 million people, divided into 5 boroughs of Kampala Central Division, Kawempe Division, Makindye Division, Nakawa Division, and Lubaga Division. In 2015, this metropolitan area generated an estimated nominal GDP of $13.8 billion, which was more than half of Uganda's GDP for that year, indicating the importance of Kampala to Uganda's economy. Kampala is reported to be among the fastest growing cities in Africa, with an annual population growth rate of 4.03% by city mayors. Kampala has been ranked the best city to live in East Africa, ahead of Nairobi and Kigali, by Mercer, a global development consulting agency based in New York City. As interesting as modern-day Kampala is, the struggles of the city too have been a very long one. Starting from its discovery to how British took it over from a 3-year-old are even more interesting. Hence, let's get into the discovery of Kampala. If you're new here, welcome! Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. History. This area of numerous hills and swamps that later became known as Kampala was part of the core of highly centralized Buganda Kingdom. It was also the site of the shifting capital of the different kings of Buganda Kingdom, with each Kabaka or king upon coronation or subsequently during their reign setting up their Kibuga or capital on a new or different hill as they wished or desired. In 1877, the first missionaries from the Church Mission Society, who were of the Protestant faith, arrived from the United Kingdom and were allocated Namirembe Hill. 2 years later, in 1879, the Catholic White Fathers also arrived, first settling at the present-day village of Kitebi near Lubaga. Subsequently, they would be allocated to Lubaga Hill. The arrival of these two missionary groups laid the grounds for the religious wars of 1888 to 1892 between the new converts and forced the missionaries from Great Britain to then lobby for the British government to take over Buganda or Uganda as a protectorate. In 1890, Frederick Lugard, an agent of the Imperial British East Africa Company, arrived in Buganda during the reign of Kabaka II, with whom he signed a treaty of protection by the British government over Buganda, and the capital was located at Namirembe Hill. In 1895, Mengo Senior School, the first school offering Western education in Kampala, was opened by the Church Missionary Society at Namirembe Hill, where mostly the children of chiefs and pages of the royal palaces were students. In 1897, Kabaka rebelled and waged a war against British rule and was subsequently captured and deported in 1899 to the Seychelles, alongside Umukama Kabalega, and his 3-year-old son was made Kabaka by the combined forces of the British forces, Nubian forces, and Baganda collaborators. This state of affairs later culminated in the signing of the Buganda Agreement in the 1900s that formalized British colonial rule in Buganda. The toddler versus British government signing. In 1900, the regents of the infant Kabaka Dodi Siwa II, who were Apollo Kagwa, the Prime Minister of Buganda, Stanislaus Mugwanya, Chief George of Buganda, and Zakaria Kingsigiri, Chief Treasurer of Buganda, with Bishop Alfred Tucker, who signed the Buganda Agreement on behalf of Buganda, with Sir Harry Johnston, who signed on behalf of the British government. This agreement with Sir Harry Johnston created new land tenures such as freehold, crown land, and Milo, and divided up and allocated the land in such a way that would come to define the development of Kampala. The land of Buganda's capital, including Mengo Hill and Makerere Hill, was allocated to the young Kabaka, the Buganda colonial collaborators under Milo and freehold. The religious missions were also formally allocated land they were previously occupying. First, the Catholic White Fathers got Lubaga Hill, The Protestant Church Missionary Society got Namirembe Hill. The Muslims under Prince Nuhu Mbogo's leadership received Kibuli Hill. The British Catholic Mill Hill missionaries received most of Nsambia Hill. The Uganda Protectorate government obtained land classified as crown lands in the area, such as Old Kampala Hill, Nakasero Hill, and others. To legalize the above changes, some laws and ordinances were subsequently passed, including the Crown Lands Ordinance of 1903, the Land Law of 1908, the Registration of Land Titles Ordinance of 1922, and the Busulu and Envoju Law of 1928. Unending and unused land use plans. In 1912, Kampala Township received its first land use plan. In 1930, the first sewerage plan was prepared to target a population of 20,000 people in the Nakasero and Old Kampala areas of the Kampala Township. This plan guided sewerage development from 1936 to 1940 in planned urban areas of the Kampala Township and excluded the Kibuga area occupied by the Baganda and the other natives. In 1931, the Uganda railway line reached Kampala, connecting Kampala to Mombasa port 35 years after the commencement of its construction. In 1938, the East African Power and Lighting Company was granted a license for thermal electric power generation and distribution for the towns of Kampala and Kitebi. And in the same year, Sir Philip Mitchell, the governor of Uganda, switched on Kampala and Uganda's first electric street lights. In 1945, Ernest May, a German architect, was commissioned by the Uganda Protectorate government to design a new physical plan for Kampala. Ernest May's plan of 1947 was intended to extend Kampala eastwards, covering Kololo Hill and Naguru Hill, and with the commercial center on the southern slopes of Nakasero Hill, an industrial zone in the southeast of Kampala, and for the first time, a planned residential zone for the Ugandan natives. The plan was never fully implemented, and in 1951, the third physical plan by Henry Kendall was instead adopted, though it incorporated some elements of Ernest May's 1947 plan. Henry Kendall's 1951 plan expanded Kampala from the 5.67 km square area of the 1930 plan to an area of 28 km square, incorporating areas like Kololo Hill and the industrial area. However, like the first two planning schemes, the 1951 plan failed to achieve many of its stated objectives. On 9th of October 1962, Uganda gained independence. Subsequently, the capital city was transferred from Entebbe to Kampala, and in the same year, Kampala was granted city status. In 1968, 6 years after Uganda attained independence, the boundaries of Kampala were expanded, incorporating Kibuga, Kawempe, and Nakawa townships, and also including Muyenga and Gaba. This increased the administrative area of Kampala from 28 kilometers to the current 189 kilometers square. In 1972, the fourth physical plan for Kampala was made, covering the newly incorporated areas of Kampala's boundary extensions of 1968. But the subsequent political and economic turmoil of the 1970s and 80s meant the plan was never implemented. Similarly, the fifth physical plan for Kampala made in 1994, like the 1972 plan, was also never implemented. In 2010, the Kampala Capital City Authority Act was enacted, giving the Ugandan government more control of the administration of Kampala. The act also created the Kampala Metropolitan Physical Planning Authority with the stated aims of improving the infrastructure of the city of Kampala and surrounding districts of Wakiso, Mukono, Bwike, and Pigi and Luwero. Kampala was originally built on 7 hills, but it has expanded to cover more than the original 7 hills. The original 7 hills are Old Kampala Hill, Mengo Hill, Kibuli Hill, Namirembe Hill, Lubaga Hill, Nsambia Hill, and Nakasero Hill. Due to expansions, Kampala now includes swamps and slow rivers, which are a result of Kampala's hilly nature and tropical climate. These seasonal or permanent swamps cover 15% of Kampala's land area and include Kinawataka Swamp River, Nakivubu Swamp River, Lubigi Swamp, Kasanga Swamp, and Kutinda Swamp. Economy. Some of the businesses that maintain their headquarters in the city center include all of the 25 commercial banks licensed in Uganda. Air Uganda maintains its headquarters in an office complex on Colonial Hill in Kampala. Crown Beverages Limited, the sole Pepsi Cola franchise bottler in the country, is situated in Nakawa, a division of Kampala. The informal sector is a large contributor to Kampala's GDP as citizens who work in the formal sector also participate in informal activities to earn more income for their families. The use of Kampala's wetlands for urban farming has increased over the past few decades. It connects the informal rural settlements with the more industrialized parts of the city, given the produce grown in the wetlands is sold in markets in the urban areas. Transportation. The transport system of Kampala is not a solid 10, but at least it has a few airports, rails and land transportation. By air, Kampala is served by Entebbe International Airport, which is the largest airport in Uganda. Local motorbike, locally called Boda Bodas transport, are a popular mode of transport that give access to many areas within and out the city. In 2014, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni and a Chinese transportation company signed a memorandum of understanding to embark at some point on building a light rail system in Kampala, similar to the one recently completed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In 2016, the Rift Valley Railways Consortium and Kampala Capital City Authority established passenger rail service between Namirembe and Kampala and between Kampala and Kengera. Those services were temporarily discontinued after RVR lost its concession in Uganda in October 2017. However, when Uganda Railways Corporation took over the operations of the metal gauge railway system in Uganda in 2018, the service was restored in February of that year. There you have it, explorers. That was the most beautiful city of Uganda, Kampala. Thanks for watching this video, and if you did enjoy the video, do want to give it a thumbs up, not forgetting to subscribe and share with your friends.